Now, Rita Clark and Annie Gand, good evening to you and welcome. Now, these are two ladies that you might remember we met briefly a long time ago on the Dublin show when we did it, and you've met them last night on the Late Show because they were taken up quite accidentally by our French guest. Now, did you have a diddley club as well, girls?
Yeah,
you
yeah,
did?
yeah.
Yes.
We had a diddley club, but it only started at a halfpenny. It didn't go as dear as a
as a penny. Yeah.
No. And then they had a society they paid in, burial societies they were every Sunday. And they got a divide before Christmas then, a couple of weeks before Christmas.
And how much would you have got before Christmas?
It all depended what you paid into the society and many debts there were because there was mortality. When you go up, there'd be a shilling mortality and a shilling subscription maybe. You know, it all, you see, it was like the credit union is now, I think it was run more or less.
Did anybody ever welch on the diddley club, by the way? The collector who collected the money, did they ever make it?
I suppose they did. We never heard of anyone.
Did they ever do that?
No, I don't think they would.
I heard of one later on, but I do remember one time, all right, that, you see, we'd be handing the money over to somebody in a factory where the diddley clubs would, like the diddlum would be up. And one, you know, you should get your diddlum a week before Christmas to buy. And that week the diddlum never came Monday, Tuesday and all down the week. My mother had us on our knees every day. Honestly, I'll never forget that Christmas. And we went looking for it, and they said that the woman was sick, and we thought she was after running off for it. But fair dues to her, she didn't. It came Christmas Eve, she really was sick, but we pins in our knees over it, you know. We got a fierce fright. And, you know, it was Christmas Eve night. We had to run then for the wallpaper and everything that year.
What was the wallpaper?
Yeah, the wallpaper the house.
You said the tarpaulin, which
that
is
was
sort
for
of...
the floor. Tarpaulin for the floor.
Sort of lino.
Yeah.
You bought wallpaper every Christmas?
Then a Christmas Eve night to get it up for Christmas Day.
Wallpaper?
Yeah.
And what else did you buy then with it? You got
the
oilcloth
oilcloth on the table.
Oh, the oilcloth.
Yeah, but wait till I tell you what she done to us then with the wallpaper. You see, she used to do machining, and we were young. We were only about 10 and 9 and 8, and we said we'd put up the wallpaper because she wanted to finish the machining for her. And we put up about 3 strips, and she was peddling away on the machine, you know, the foot machine, and she just said, I don't like it. I could never look at it. I really couldn't, and we were making paste with flour and everything, and she tried to shove it up straight. And didn't she get off her machine, run down to Barrack Street, into Stevie Mahony with the rolls that were left, and changed them for another colour and brought them back up again.
And put them up.
And we put them up then.
For Christmas. And what about now going to Mass and so on? Did you go to very early Mass?
We did, yeah. I think during the war there, midnight Mass was stopped. And we would go off at the dawn and start at the corn cake when we came back.
At like 6 o'clock?
Yeah.
Did you go to early Mass?
We loved it.
Early Mass, yes, and it was unusual because it was dark, you see, it was very dark, and the lights and the ponies and traps and the sidecars and the common cars going to Mass and the sound of the horses' hooves and the frost and the wheels. And then the church, the chapel looked so strange on Christmas morning with just a few candles on the altar and maybe a few candles in the shrine. But it was strange sometimes if the Mass was about 8:30, it was dark when you went in, and halfway through the Mass it started to dawn, and the light would come on in the windows, and gradually the light of the candle, which was so marvellous at first, would die down as God's own light came through the window and lit up the chapel in the inside.
You paint a colourful... What about the Dubs? Did you go to very early Mass, Rita?
6 o'clock Mass. 6 o'clock Mass every Christmas.
Because you two, Rita and Annie, are living beside each other where in the houses you were born in all your lives. You're living there since ever still. And you're best pals, are you?
Yeah, well, sometimes, you know.
We never fall out.
We don't fall out. We do have little, you know.
Don't be telling your lies.
I always say
we don't fall out.
You live beside each all your lives. So anyway, you used to go to 6 o'clock Mass in the
6
cold
o'clock Mass, swanking it in our second-hand clothes.
Yeah, and then...
Your mother be at the buying off the tuggers, or over in the Ivy Market.
What was the tuggers?
Well, the tuggers went out tugging with their basket cars to the bigger houses, you know, out around Blackrock and Dunleary, you know, they walked and they give a cup and saucer in and they get the clothes out, you know. And they had anything good, you see, they knew of any, your mother would know them, pull them up and buy them.
The wardrobe woman, she was known as.
Yeah.
Afterwards, they were called wardrobe dealers, but they were only did the tuggers.
Tuggers, I don't understand. Yes. So, Eilish, when you came back then from Mass, you started on the currant cake and the raza, and that was going all day.
That would go on, and then we'd have nearly the jelly before dinner hour We hadn't much mass and poppies and cabbage. She'd have that and a bit of ham and all, but somehow or other we were very sweet about it. But, you know, we just keep at her until it was finished. But then, you see, in Cork too, you have the Holly Bough. And even to this day, I see women, it's bought about 4 weeks ago
what's
now.
the Holly Bough?
It's the paper comes out about Cork every week. It used to have a red cover, like the Examiner now. It is a different editor to the Examiner.
Yeah.
And people at Cork, especially the older generation, I have mine now planked on myself, you know, to spare the read for Christmas night.
You'd buy
you know,
the Holly Bough?
Yeah, and put it away. And you'd be busting to look at it, you know, because there's, there's poems and ghost stories and, you know, all that in
Kitty
it.
the hair stuff and all of that.
Well,
yes.
there's modern poetry now in it.
Oh,
and
I see.
everything.
Nowadays, yes, but in the old days.
But they planked it away, and they're one of them all, even though it is in the house for about a month. A lot of them have it planked away for Christmas night when they were all gone to bed, like to read it Christmas after dinner.
Yeah.
You know, you had the reading and you had the games, and the city people played cards. You know, we were grand card players.
Of course, there was no telly, you see. There was no distraction.
but,
you had no money to go anywhere. You had to make
Well,
your
where
own
we
music.
lived, Gay, we didn't need telly or we didn't need video because there was always loads of entertainment. There was around Meath Street, around Francis Street, and around.
Yeah, that'd be going on.
And it was around, and you could take your pick, right? So on Christmas Day, you weren't allowed out. We weren't allowed out, only to go to the 40 Hours on Francis Street.
On Christmas Day?
On Christmas Day.
It's
It's still on.
Yeah, on
Christmas
this Christmas
Day.
Day. Yeah.
So your mother used to say to you, every time you go into the church to the 40 Hours, you gain a plenary indulgence. So, little did she know what we were indulging in. Every time we'd hear, a roogie up, we used to be all drinking, the men, and they'd be drunk. We'd say to our mother, can I go to the 40 Hours? And we'd get up and we'd go out, you see, to the row. But
There ain't all rows now.
well, there was plenty of them. But sometimes when we'd go into the church, our mothers can see right down to the church from her hall door. And she could look at us and see if we were going. So we used to go in and run out again. But sometimes Father Hayden used to be there. He was the parish priest. And he had something wrong with his leg. And he was a terrible grumpy old man. And if you went inside the door, he used to come along like this to you. And make sure you went up to the top of the chapel. And we'd be up the top. We'd be up the top and we'd be mortified. And we wouldn't know how to get out. And next, there'd be three of us together, and one would say to the other, you throw a sevener and we'll bring you out. So one would faint. And the other two would carry her out, and we'd join her at the back. And that's how we did it, you know.